All right, the June 17th Middleton Tourism Commission meeting has been called to order with the first item on the agenda being the approval of the minutes from the May 20th meeting. And everybody's had time to review the minutes, was in attendance. I'd like to make a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
Second.
Evan, second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
They're approved.
All right, next we need to do election of officers, which I'll run because right now Jim is chair. We just vote on chair and vice chair because I take care of secretary and treasury duties. Do we have any nominations for chair of MTC for June 2025 to May 2026? Oh, and welcome, Jose.
Aye.
Does anyone want the job? Jim, would you want to do it again? Jose, do you want to do it? Kevin, Todd? John, you can't.
I nominate Jim to continue doing it.
Second.
First, do you accept Jim?
I do.
Is there anybody else who wishes to have their name thrown into the hat for chair? All right, then, oh, sorry, I just had an alert. Everybody, as long as everybody can hear me, all right. May I have, so we have a motion for Jim to be our next chair, seconded by Kevin. All those in favor say aye.
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 Passes. All right, currently Kevin serves as our vice chair. Do we have anybody? Kevin, do you want to keep it? Do you want to nominate someone else?
I'm fine. I'm fine with keeping it. It's fine with me.
Do you have any motions? Anybody else who wants their hat thrown, their name thrown in the hat? I can't talk today.
We'll move Kevin by acclamation,
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
All right.
Beautiful. Next item on the agenda is the grant for the Good Neighbor Festival.
And we have Christy on the line. So, oh, let me share that screen, sorry. Oh, 1 second. Apparently.
I'll take that second to say hello.
Aye.
Hello, Christy.
Aye.
Hello.
All right. Let's see if this will let me. There it is. Okay, this is the minutes. And Good Neighbor Fest is the first one. Okay. So we have Good Neighbor Fest requesting a grant, a destination partnership grant for $5,000. This would go toward marketing for the 3-day event this August. And have you all had the chance to read through this in the marketing plan that was listed? And do we have any questions or comments for Christy while she's on the line? Some of the goals mapped out here.
I do
Go
have
ahead.
one clarification as you're going through this. We've been calling it the DMBA treasure map because we've kind of been working with DMBA to develop it. But at this point, we're thinking of expanding it across Middleton instead of keeping it to downtown. Our original thought was we really wanted to help downtown businesses in the weeks leading up to the festival. That spirit still is the same, but we just want to move it out to different areas. Like we've talked to Cooper's Hawk people. I would love to see people in my area of town, which is Lakeside, involved too. So just take out the DMBA part, but we're still working on the treasure map.
Okay, calling it the Middleton treasure map. So they have social media, the treasure map, and radio advertising listed as what they would spend this on. And they are targeting 90 miles from Middleton, which is a requirement for us that it has to be outside of Dane County. Did anybody have any questions about this? Any concerns?
No,
And
not for
if
me.
not, do we have a motion? Here, I feel like there was something else attached at the end.
I'll move to approve the grant request of $5,000.
We have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Fantastic. All right, Christy, I will send you a letter. And that'll also include the information, just like last year, there will be a post-event report and it'll probably have very similar information required.
Right, and just to reiterate, you got, well, so at $5,000, you are at the event, at the rate of like a venue sponsor. So I think Mari has a copy of our sponsorship levels. If not, it's online on our website. So those are the things that we will be doing in kind in return for your sponsorship of the festival. So thank you very much. And if there's, I mean, anything that we can add to it, we will. For sure, so just let us know.
Great.
right.
I'll send you an email soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
You too. And because we have Terry on the line, we're gonna scoot on down. Oh, that's not it. Right? Was that the plan?
Yeah.
To do the agreement next? Okay. We're hopscotching around. So, okay, I'll go ahead and do this one, sorry. So, as you all know, we've been talking for almost 3 years now about doing a strategic plan, and we're finally in the position where we're fully staffed and ready to go. And so we went out to RFP for an organizational assessment and strategic plan. And that's because we knew we had to take a look at who we are and what we're doing and how we're operating before we can even make a plan. And we received 3 proposals back from different companies, 2 in Wisconsin, 1 actually out of in Canada. And we interviewed all of them and they were all great. But we came down to DMO Pros because we really liked, first of all, we liked how they outlined their process. So we are only hiring them for the organizational assessment because once they outlined everything, they were very clear on if we, for instance, one of the biggest things that we're looking at is our partnerships and partnership agreements. And we're also looking at private versus public. Should we become a nonprofit? And their assessment is if we become a nonprofit, they can absolutely help us through that process and create a plan for us. If we stay a city department, then our plan is probably more marketing and sales based, and we should either continue working with our current marketing agency or work on a strategy ourselves, but they don't do marketing. And I liked that approach because it gives us the opportunity to decide who we're going to hire for the 3-year plan. If we did stay a city department, we could go out to RFP for another company or just stay with our current marketing agency. They're also very, very well known throughout the country, but there isn't a DMO in the state that doesn't know Bill Geist's name. And I was really very excited, really very excited. That's great. That's great grammar there. That they even submitted a proposal because I was worried we might be too small. They're just next door in Madison, so we won't be paying travel costs, which we would have to for almost anybody else we would have hired. And Terry is on the line. She and Bill have been working together for decades. And they've worked with giant DMOs and smaller ones. And they have worked with DMOs that were city departments before. I will just let you know, and Terry knows this, we were going back and forth with the attorney this morning, and this section right here, we re-outlined it with hard deliverables, so it's basically, it has more detailed description. And then this stayed 7,500, and then this went to like 8 something, and this went to 16 something, because the attorney really wanted us to, he wanted us to pay like halfway through the project and half at the end. And DMO Pros was kind enough to allow us to make those changes. And then there's, oh, this section also got deleted because there's no travel costs, so we don't need it. And then the only other changes that I saw from the attorney were language changes. He just changed a few words around. And so, yeah, but Terry is on the line if you have any questions specifically about how the process goes. If this gets approved, Friday would be our official start date. I'm on vacation next week and they know that. But then we would get started right away the following week, with basically reviewing all of the current research and data that we currently have and figuring out where the holes are and then moving on from there. And with the hope that we would actually have something by the end of September, early October. And that gives us some wiggle room too, especially if something happens on my end where I have to take some time off or something. You know, what I always like to put in some buffer time in case something happens. So we have plenty of time to get done before the year.
So at this time, if you don't mind, Mari, I want to say hello to everyone and
Yes,
introduce myself.
absolutely.
My name is Terry White. My title actually is VP of Client Services. My partner is Bill Geist. He is the president, or as he likes to refer to himself, kind of a chief instigator. We have been in business working with DMOs across the country for 30 years. Some of you may recognize Bill's name. 30 years ago, when he started this company, he stepped away from being the CEO at what was then GMCBB, which is now Destination Madison. So you may recognize that name. He is on another call this afternoon. If he finishes up early, I'm hoping he'll join us. But as Mari intimated, we have worked with other DMOs and CVBs from very small budgets, those as low as $250,000, and very big budget DMOs, those that are over $50 million. So every size and shape. Bill is one of the few people in this space who has actually written a book about destination leadership. And I am happy to provide a copy of that for all of you. If you'd like, I'll make sure that Mari has them. As she also shared, our proposal did indicate that we would look at this from an organizational assessment first to decide what type of structure it is that you would like to be going forward. The first phase of our work as part of that assessment is to review all of the current documentation. Everything that Mari has, unfortunately, we're going to be looking at, from research, data, policy, staffing, budgets, sales, goals, all of that we're going to be looking at, as well as hopefully having meetings and interviews with other partners. Clearly, each of you on this call today as a member of the commission are also a stakeholder and a partner in this organization. Once we take a look at the data, we'll be scheduling those meetings, focus groups, and conversations. From there, once we get through all of that, then the third part of that, of course, is then making those recommendations based on our findings. We'll also take a look and compare the Visit Middleton organizational structure to other DMOs in this nation. There are many very successful city government departments. I can point you to one that we've worked very close with for over 20 years, and that would be Visit Irving, Texas. They are a city department. They're highly successful, and Maura Gast is a thought leader in our sector. Then, of course, the 501c6 nonprofit is the most prevalent organizational structure. But again, we don't want to come into this project with any preconceived notion of what's going to be best for Middleton. That's really up to these conversations, your culture, those numbers, the research, all of that to kind of mold our findings and recommendations. Once that is done and those items are presented to you as the commission and of course your common council, once you decide what's best for you based on those recommendations, then we can take a look at next steps and what that strategic plan, what those goals, what those objectives are going to look like. But I am here to answer any questions that any of you have. We are local. We actually live outside of Madison now. We're up out towards Wollersheim. So we're a little bit outside the city limits, out in the country, but very close by. Okay, anybody have any questions that I can help you with?
Hi, Terry.
Hi.
I think I have a question. How do you guys plan to collect the data to make this assessment?
We are really going to be relying on Mari for the majority of the data. You know, if as partners, you are able to supply some of that, such as STR data, certainly others in the industry like Destinations International can provide some national data. We certainly have partnerships with other organizations like Fired Up Culture that can help us with organizational job descriptions, current compensation rates, things like that. We think that our experience in this industry will help us with some of the national data. We certainly Travel Wisconsin and Sayers and her staff there, and Mari's certainly her involvement in other organizations hopefully will assist us in finding any additional data or research that we might be looking for.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody
This one
else?
we vote to approve it, don't we?
Yeah. Don't forget to ask for discussion.
Any other discussion or questions for Terry?
No, I'm good.
Anybody like to make a motion to approve the agreement to move forward with DMO Pros?
I'll make a motion to approve it.
I'll second.
I'd second. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you, Terry. Much appreciated.
Thank you.
And look forward to seeing what you pull together.
Oh, I'll be seeing all of you. There's no doubt about that in the next
Looking
several
forward
weeks,
to it.
I'm sure.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Terry.
Thank you.
Okay, so we can jump back up to the next grant. And just so you know, since the attorney has approved this, it is going before finance tonight and common council. And so I can't imagine why it wouldn't be passed through. So by the end of the day, hopefully we'll be able to actually get this officially signed before Friday and we are off to the races. Because as long as we can stay on schedule, like this thing is going to get done hopefully pretty quick. All right, let me share my screen again. All right, gotta go back up. So the next item is, oh, I need to do this one too because it's Jim.
Yep.
Okay, so the next grant is Acres USA. Jim is here not to vote, but he can give us information about last year. So last year was the first time Acres USA was here, and they brought in, oh gosh, I have it here somewhere. This is this year's, last year's. So the actualized for 2024 was over 800 room nights. And we did give them a $5,000 grant, and we did a table, and we did a bunch of other things for them as well. This is during a time of year when it is kind of hard to get a conference to be booked. So that part is fantastic for us. And they do have, this year, she indicated that they will have quite a few meals on their own. Is that still correct, Jim?
Yes.
Yeah, so hopefully they will be out in droves in at least the Greenway Station area, though we will have plenty of information for them to bring them across the rest of Middleton as well. Not all of them drive. We had some people last year who definitely flew in. We had some people who took the Amtrak up to like Columbus and found a ride here. And so they come from all over. They did share the zip codes to some of their registrants last year. I got them and not all of them were complete, but it was all over the country. Does anybody have any questions about? This shows you what they are hoping to book for this year.
I
And if we
have
don't
any
have any
questions.
questions,
Seems
Oh, sorry,
pretty
go ahead.
straightforward. I don't have any questions. It seems pretty straightforward, this one.
Yeah, this one seems like a
Um,
And
brainer.
hotel rooms are there. I mean,
Yeah,
do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? If none, all in favor, say aye.
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 Passes. Look at us moving along, guys.
That's good.
I know. Makes me happy. Okay. Destination Madison Agreement. You're up, Jim.
All right, we got that pulled up.
I do. Oh, and the attorney did approve this morning. So this is now attorney approved.
That's excellent news. So we're looking to get some discussion rolling here. I know we've discussed it at numerous past meetings as well, but this is the final version of the 3-year extension between Destination Madison and Visit Middleton's agreement. Is there any further discussion or questions about this extension?
No,
Guess
I
I'd
don't have
defer to
any.
Mari. Is everything good with you, Mari?
We are as far as we're going to get with what we have asked. So we've been going back and forth asking for things, and this is as far as Destination Madison is willing to bend. We did get more things this year than we have in the past, and we were able to replace some things that were completely outdated. And there is a very simple exit clause. For instance, if our organizational assessment strat plan says, hey, you need to reevaluate this, or we go nonprofit, it'll be easy to back out of this and re-enter a new one. I mean, for one thing, if we go nonprofit, every agreement we sign that is long-term has to be re-signed with the chair instead of city departments, right? And so we won't be held accountable for anything like that either. I do recommend signing it. I'm on the record as not entirely happy with it and thinking that there should be a lot more involved with reporting. But we are not going to get that in this agreement.
What other things didn't we get in the agreement that you feel they should be there besides the reporting?
Well, the reporting was the biggest one. Oh goodness. Now I've got to remember where we are. So there were a couple of clauses from the original document that I wanted to include in this one that they said no to. And it had more to do with like access. Let's see here. So we did get access to their books back, and this wasn't in the other one. Oh, where's my exhibit A? There we go.
To specific examples of things.
Yeah, that's true. And they did go back and they added a couple. They added a couple more specifics for like what were some of the marketing deliverables. Let's see here. I haven't looked at this in a while.
Looks like they added some detail to the annual presentation. Looks like, didn't they? A little bit.
No, this is the same as what they had originally. I wanted this to be a report and not a presentation, and they're keeping it a presentation.
Did they provide any rationalization or explanation for that?
I do believe that Maureen sent some notes back. I can try to find those. If you really want me to, if you want me to like stop real quick, I can stop sharing and go find those. It's just gonna take me a minute. I gotta find that folder. Sorry, I'm feeling a little put on the spot. Um,
I made a note too, but that's still not our trademark logo on the
I mean,
top.
did they,
oh, that doesn't
generally
matter. Okay.
speaking, did they comment to any changes other than, or
Oh, there's
disapproval,
destination.
other than just to say, no, we don't agree or won't?
1 second. I need to find it. That's the. Okay. Oh, for one thing, I had reinserted Madison Area Sports Commission so that it was more defined, and they took that out and said that because it's part of DM, that they do not want it listed separately. Let's see here. I gotta scoop this. I wrote, we noticed that anytime a business was featured in the guide, it never said where the business was located. Visitors wouldn't know, for instance, Mickey's Bakes is in Middleton, unless you Googled it. And their response was, we decline this edit and are reverting to the previous version. As a regional tourism advocate, our goal is to inspire visitors to explore the entire region. The purpose of the inspiration guide is to spark curiosity and drive traffic to our website, where visitors can continue discovering all our destination has to offer. This approach aligns with our broader strategy to present the region as a unified destination. And then on one of them, I said, it mentions a blog, and then this series, will there be more than one blog post? How many per year? How many social media posts? And they did update that a little bit. Their blog, newsletter, social.
Well, so if I could ask just a general broad question, given what they did and didn't accept, do you still think this is a good plan?
It's right now, it's currently, it's still a good plan. I mean, we have to partner with someone.
Yeah.
We're legally obliged to partner with someone, and we can see where this goes.
Okay.
They know that we are expecting more as far as like the sports sales specifically, because I feel like in the last several years, we haven't had the sports business come through. Our only other option would be to become a nonprofit or to create a partnership with a whole different DMO, which I think would create some friction at
Okay.
this point.
Well, I'll move that we accept this agreement.
I'll second it.
Okay.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
I
Approved.
This is one of the things that DMO pros, we've had long conversations about. They will be looking at it to see if there are any changes that we can try to push for a more equitable agreement. I still think 17% is way too high, considering that Verona and Fitchburg also pay 17%, but it's probably close to half of what we're paying in. And from what I can tell, the only thing that we get that they don't is the photo shoot that is now included, a one-day photo shoot where they're going to send someone to take pictures of Middleton assets. I don't know. We don't exactly know whether or not we get to choose it or if it's something that they're going to do and just share with us the assets. But I don't believe Fitchburg and Verona get that. But as far as like board seats, that kind of thing, nothing like that has changed.
All right, next item on the agenda is hotel updates. Do you want to kick those off? How are things at GF?
I don't have a ton, I guess, other than to say that, and I think the Wisconsin Star Report kind of that came out from WHLA this week sort of validates what I saw in May. It was not a good month. Saw ADRs held pretty decent year over year. Occupancies did not. They were down quite a bit, which was pretty impactful. June looks better. I think right now we're cautiously optimistic as we move through the summer, but there's not a lot of excess optimism on it right now. It's a lot of wait and see. You know, with the stuff that's going on with the administration, there's a lot of unknowns. I mean, what, 3 days ago they're talking about lifting, you know, ICE efforts towards agriculture, hospitality, restaurant, service industries. And today ICE came out and said, oh no, we're going to go after them. So, you know, it's got AHLA, WHLA, all of them just kind of with their hands up in the air wondering what's going to happen. So, it's kind of a wait and see. But right now the trend doesn't look too terrible bad as we move into the summer months. But I don't think we're going to be crushing any records.
Yeah, I'll echo that, Todd. Last week, we actually, as a company, went through the year-end forecast and basically took a lot of revenue out. We're eliminating risk on our revenue budget this year. The in the year for the year groups and bookings are down pretty significantly right now across our entire company, and we own properties from California to Florida to, you know, Eastern Seaboard to Wisconsin here. So it's a pretty good kind of measurement of what's happening across the entire country. And, you know, we're still booking future business, but the short-term bookings have kind of dropped off pretty dramatically for us, honestly. But you're correct in that ADR did hold strong the last couple stars, but occupancy is definitely taking a hit.
Yeah, I mean, properties that are dependent upon foreign travel and government business are really sweating right now. But
Yep.
And I think that people thought the trickle down effect would take longer. I think they thought that it would be like this fall next year that we'd realize that business is being redirected.
Yeah.
As you know, locations like Chicago that normally would get tons of international business conferences, et cetera. If those aren't there, now they're looking domestically. And so now all of a sudden Milwaukee's in competition with Chicago. And now all of a sudden we're in competition with Milwaukee. And I think that people thought that that trickle down effect would take longer, and it's already here. I know Destinations International Conference is in Chicago in July, and I don't know if this is normal for them, but they are still accepting registration. Like 3 years ago at this time, I don't think that the conferences I was going to that were national even had openings, you know, 2-3 weeks out.
Yeah.
And so that, in fact, I think their lodging links were still active. And usually if you don't book your room within the first 2 weeks of registration, you don't get a room near the conference center.
Right.
And so I think we're seeing that there too. If there's anything we can do, again, just remember, and I know that some of your sales staff might be new, but if there's something that we can do, you know, to sweeten a deal, we still have our meeting incentives. You know, we can sponsor a coffee break or a board luncheon, or, you know, if transportation is the thing. I know that some of the hotels still don't have shuttle service. So if you have a big conference and they're like, we need to choose a place that's easy to get to and from the airport, we can sponsor that airport shuttle. You know, if there's some way for us to help, we have plenty of money in that fund because nobody has really tapped into it.
Okay. Yep.
So just, and anything under $2,000, I can immediately approve, but anything over, we would just need to get 4 of you on a Zoom call and approve right away. But we have plenty of grant money that we are not using, and I mean, try to utilize it to get the business here. And just so you also know, Fairfield has a new salesperson. I don't remember if she's director, coordinator. She is interested in stepping into Corey Mace's old spot of helping us with trade shows, because bus tour traffic is huge for Fairfield.
Mhm.
And so she is interested. We're thinking, we're working with her right now. We might sign her up for NTA in the fall to go with Laura. Laura, show her the ropes on how to, because she has to advertise the entire city, not just her property. And then going forward, we could tag team, and that way we could go to more trade shows, but Laura wouldn't have to go to as many, because almost all of hers are back to back in January and February, and she usually ends up missing something. And so just so you know, that's something we're looking at right now, because Corey Mase used to do all of that for us. And I like having an in-house person, but we just can't go to all of them. There's just too much going on. And so she might be a solution for us. And it's a good partnership, because Fairfield is the one that has the most bus groups, really. So it makes sense.
It's like the last item on the agenda here is director's updates.
It's my updates. So there are just a couple of things I wanted to bring to everybody's attention. In July, we will be voting on the budget. So in July, I will give you the budget as close to completely done as possible. And then that gives you guys an opportunity to look at it and say, these are the changes you need to make, or no, this isn't okay. Because in August, it has to be approved, because it has to be approved in August to go to finance. Because it's due in August every year. But just a couple of things so it doesn't become a shock, okay? In 2026, we are probably going to be forced to buy a new vehicle. It'll be either get rid of the one we have and not have one, or buy one. I will say, if we get rid of the one we have, it could be very expensive, because we would have to do rental vehicles, because the city just doesn't have enough. Like, it's never available. And I will say, with the cost of mileage, like, I went to Bayfield and I took my own vehicle, because I was like, well, if I'm driving all the way here, I'm gonna spend a couple extra days. I only clocked the mileage for the trip up, but nothing after. But if I had clocked the entire trip, it would have been a $400 mileage trip. And so we're looking at, and of course for us, it'd be a hybrid. Public Works got back to me. They just received their report last week with what's on their replacement plan. And so Brad is going to get a hold of me soon, because he knows that we need to include this in our budget. This does have to be a line item. We might just have to pick a big number and then hope it's as little as possible. Because we might not know what kind of vehicle exactly, and we might need to put in the order now. But the way that finance department said was, it has to be a line item so that it's approved in order for us to even go before finance to take it out of our tourism fund. So it will be a line item, with the understanding that we absolutely will be taking this out of savings. And just so you know, we are doing fine on savings. I'll have that number for you next month, but I think we're like around 3 million. And every year I have presented a budget thinking we could be running on a deficit, but because we have either been down an employee for almost the whole year, and or not using grant money, we've actually been putting money back into the tourism fund balance, even though we've been paying that $50,000 grant to CXC. We've never had to take that out of savings. And so we're doing fine on having our savings, and we can definitely afford a car. But we're looking at a smaller, like not the smallest, but a smaller SUV, because it has to be large enough to be able to transport our stuff, the tables, the tents, the everything. And we've already tried out my vehicle, and mine's too small, so it has to be bigger than my SUV. That's all we know. So we were measuring things. Brad Hopwood has a list. And we will be doing a hybrid, because of course the city wants a sustainability plan, but for us, going full electric doesn't make sense because of the distances we have to travel. So that will be coming in front of you. And again, if you guys have any questions about that.
If you want to test, I just bought a Honda CRV hybrid, and it's got an elongated back from the previous years, and I'd be glad to let you look at and take a look at the back and see what you
I'm
want
not
to
be
support.
interested. The city is very partial to Fords
Yeah, I know.
because of something, which I don't understand, because I don't understand cars. To me, it's an SUV. But I'm sure we can figure out something. I'm looking for like not super expensive, but when I was
Yeah.
Googling it, we're looking at 32 to 45,000 for a new one for sure.
Yeah. about right.
And we absolutely have the money and we can pay in cash and we won't have to finance it. And we won't be paying interest. So that part's awesome.
I think
the
the Ford,
second-
the Ford thing was really dealing with all the trucks they have, because they wanted to have one constant supply of parts. So once you move into a hybrid world, that may all change, so you might have more options.
That sounds great to me. I'm like, I know I'm not the one who has to take care of it, so I'm definitely leaning on Brad to give me suggestions.
There you
The
Does the
strategic
city-
plan,
Does the city allow
Sorry, go ahead.
leasing so you can get a new one every 3 years, or do they buy everything?
I have no idea. I don't
Well, I
think they
don't know.
lease anything.
I
Well, I
mean,
think
we lease our
everything's
company
purchased.
cars, it works out great. We have open-ended leases. I don't know, it's
I can
considerably
ask him.
cheaper usually. I mean, I don't think you guys are putting on a ton of miles.
No, we really are not. It's
I
just when we
mean-
do. Yeah. a
Yeah.
long distance.
I mean, the city doesn't have many cars. It's got a lot of trucks. And those typically don't lease, and so I don't know about the cars.
Yeah.
I'll ask somebody
Um,
tonight at council meeting.
Yeah, we lease those Rogues for Capital Brewery and it works out.
Mhm.
Well, I'll ask. I mean, whatever makes financial sense for us, I'm cool with.
Yeah.
Because again, we're not picky. I was like, Laura drives it the most, so she needs to test drive it because she's like a foot shorter than me. And I'm like, you need to feel comfortable in this thing. And then I will drive whatever. The one we have now doesn't have power anything. It doesn't have a camera. It doesn't have anything, and we're fine. We are so easy. It's just give us something that's not going to break down. Because that was uncomfortable having that issue when I was up in Minocqua. Strategic plan, we are advised not to include that in our 2026 budget since we have no idea what that's going to look like until November, December. So this project, this assessment is supposed to be done by the end of September, early October. And if we do decide to do something that requires DMO pros, then they will finish out our whole project and they'll keep it under the $50,000 mark. And they can even be done by December for us. But again, we have no idea what's going to happen. And so Bill from finance said, don't put it in your budget. What will happen is when you figure out what you're doing, we'll do an amendment to the budget next year. So I'll have to create an amended budget and go through finance and common council and have that approved. Because anything we do, again, would come out of our savings. Because we're not going to make enough in 2026 to cover a car and whatever changes we're going to make. And one of those changes might even be hiring a salesperson. We don't know. And so that's how we'll approach that. And then the other thing I want to put a bug in your ear on whether or not you think this even would be worth talking about. But every year we talk about, wouldn't it be nice to have a part-time person who opens the visitor center on Saturdays? And it would just be like a 4 or 5 hour stretch. I will say on the Saturdays we have open for events. We don't get a ton of people, like 10 people, 40 people, maybe. But we do hear from people a lot that they would have come in if it had been open because they were here on a weekend and not a weekday. And so what we could do is hire someone for next summer or 2 people, because I don't know one person who wants to give up every Saturday. Hire a couple of people to do some Saturdays next year. There are only 13 Saturdays. And I already figured out if we did 4 hours a day at $15 an hour, that's only like $780 before all the taxes and finances that we have to do. And if we did 5 hours, it's still under $1,000. So for like, let's say $2,000, because there's going to be taxes involved, and I don't know what that's going to look like without talking to finance. We could probably hire a couple of retired people to sit in the visitor center on a Saturday. If you don't think it's worth it, we won't even look at it because it will require having finance and common council approve a part-time job description. And, but it's something to think about if you think it would be worth it. So sometimes I totally do think that it's strange that we have a visitor center that's not open on the weekends. But at the same time, we have such a small staff to rotate someone out for an entire day. Like, let's say I open on Saturdays, but I take Fridays off. I have too many meetings. Like, we don't have a deep bench. We just have one of each of us. And Laura absolutely can't because she is gone so much in the winter for her trade shows. I can't have her giving up Saturdays in the summer as well. So that's just something to think about. There might be, and with the Raleigh House also adding more tours, there might be a way to piggyback there. And some retired people get a little cash, a little Christmas spending money. I don't know. I can't imagine there being a high schooler who says, yes, I will take all the Saturdays. And so I think we would be looking at somebody who's fully retired and just thinking that it would be fun to sit in a visitor center. But I would pay them. I don't think that it would be worthwhile to try to do a volunteer thing. So just think about it. I'm not gonna put anything in the budget yet. I will be emailing everybody, but if we want to do it, we can't wait until next year because we have to have everything approved through the system before hiring starts next year. And that's all I've got.
Well, it's good to see everybody. Would anybody like to make a motion to adjourn?
I will make a motion to adjourn.
Second,
I'll second
A
it.
second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Have a great
Yeah,
evening, everybody.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you
you.
so much.
Sorry to let you know, I
Yes.
will be gone in July.
Okay,
So when
perfect.
you're looking
I
at
will
the
make
heads up,
sure-
I know
I'll
I'm
make
gone.
sure that Kate is here. Thank you.
All right.
Thank
Good night,
you.
everybody.
Bye, everybody.
All right.
Bye. Awesome.
I'll send out doodle